My favorite thing is what we call the greatest hits. So imagine all the stages that you've spoken on. Imagine all the podcasts that you have been on. That's stuff that you've already made. Look, I'm lazy. I don't want to keep creating new content. I want to be on her show so I can add that to like number 753 now, right? But I'm lazy and I want to take things, if I've already said something really well and it's evergreen, meaning it's reusable, I want to take that 1 hour podcast, for example, and I want to cut out those 1 minute snippets, square them out, put them into that meme format where you have the headline, right? And then distribute them on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn.
I'm Shayna. I love dogs, I trip a lot, and I happen to have a knack for making pretty sweet videos for businesses. But the more videos we made, the more questions I got about how video and other content can be leveraged to make a bigger impact in their marketing. I mean, 44% of marketers say that producing content is their biggest challenge, yet content marketing is 62% less expensive than outbound and produces 3 times more leads. Now, I know a lot, but I certainly don't know it all, so I made it my mission to talk with content kings, queens, and bosses to learn as much as I could about crushing content marketing, and I'm taking you along with me. Welcome to the Content Coalition. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us again today. I'm here with the Facebook master, Dennis Yu. Spoken over like 700 times across the world. I mean, basically co-wrote the book on Facebook, and they teach it at universities, right?
That's right. We've got the book on Facebook.
The book, and you've been featured in like every publication imaginable. I mean, the Wall Street Journal, LA Times, New York Times, you contribute like everywhere. So I'm super excited to have you here today. I'm super excited for everybody else to get to learn more about content marketing and crushing their Facebook game. I know that your company, BlitzMetrics, you guys do a lot with students, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So we train up young adults and we make them pro-level digital marketers through our certification.
Really?
Because imagine if you're a young adult, you're in college, maybe you just got out of the military, what are your job options typically? You work at home, you work at Chili's, you work at your parents' company, but imagine that you could go through the kind of training that you maybe didn't get in school. You got the book learning, but then you have the work experience, and then you can start making $10, $15, $20 an hour, all the way up until you can own your own business as an entrepreneur. So one of our friends, Aaron Rumbaugh, he's 6'6", and he plays basketball, and his dream was to be able to work for a basketball team. So he went through our program, qualified, and he started working on the Golden State Warriors.
Really?
And then coaching other people to be able to do the same, which is really mentorship that has always been the model of how people get jobs. In the United States, it's been you get a degree and then hopefully you can take that diploma and trade it in at the window for a job, but it doesn't work like that. So we believe that working with the private sector, where they need help so badly, with companies like yours and mine, to be able to have a workforce that's certified to execute these packages is exactly what they need. They need help from video production companies. They need help from folks to do ads and analytics. There's an amazing, amazing demand. There's a drought of people that know how to do content marketing and do ads and analytics, yet there's a huge labor force that can't get jobs. So why not?
Right.
We have so many folks like Adam who just ran up the stairs. He was a maintenance man 3.5 years ago. He was fixing apartment toilets and cleaning up nasty things at apartments, and now he runs our learning management system. Kevin, 10 years ago, was washing aircraft with high pressure jets and cleaning nasty sorts of things in the middle of the night, and now he's building sites at scale as one of our engineers, right? And we have all of these different stories of people that were in situations that were really not ideal, and they've gone through a training and mentorship program. They worked hard. They've worked on projects starting at low wages to be able to earn their way in, and that overcomes the catch-22, right? Can you imagine some of your first jobs where you tried to apply, but you couldn't get in because you didn't have the experience, right?
Right. Wow, that's amazing. Very cool. So let's talk about BlitzMetrics then. So explain to everybody what is BlitzMetrics? What do you guys specialize in?
We specialize in Facebook ads and analytics. So ads and analytics we consider to be the same thing, because I used to run analytics at Yahoo. And the thing is that people thought that was reporting, right? They think, because you go to Google Analytics and you get reports, right? They should call it Google Reports, Google Charts. But analytics is optimizing. It's figuring out why is something working or not, and therefore what should you do? Make that change, test it, and then report back on how it works and continue to iterate and cycle through that. So imagine that you have this cycle of being able to tune and you apply it to Facebook. You apply it to your Infusionsoft or email system. You apply it to your Google ads. You apply it to your YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these other channels. It ends up being the same thing. So we like to take clients that are already organizations, nonprofits, anybody that's already making some money, where there's customers and there's data and there's a signal, and then using our process, which we publish, it's not some big secret, right? Come to my session at Traffic and Conversion Summit.
Yay,
You'll hear all about it.
There you go.
And learn how you can go cross-channel. You can take, like, imagine this was it. This was full of gold or something amazing, right? Yeah. I know it's just bottled water from Costco. But imagine we took this and we opened a box and we stuck it in a box, closed the lid like a real magician, press the button, and we get 10 more of whatever it was that we put in there, right? Would you like to play that game? Would you like to have a machine that does that?
All day long.
That's how we see it works in the world of digital. So Shayna, if you have amazing content that you produce, maybe for a client, and you stick it in this box, and you know that this content will drive sales, and then this box figures out where that content needs to live, and also automatically adjusts how much money to spend and does that all for you, then you're able to maximize the quality of your assets. The trouble is, though, we say that you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shiitake. So the issue is that they need to hire firms like Shayna's because their content sucks. Mm-hmm. So no amount of tuning and optimizing and reporting and ads and whatever will overcome if their content is terrible.
Right.
But if you help them make great content, then the systems that we teach are going to drive more revenue because then the algorithm is going to give you a better quality score, a better cost per conversion, be able to get more reach. Take things that are working on Facebook, copy them to YouTube, copy them to Instagram, copy them to your email. Take the things that are working well in email and SEO, copy them over into video. Maybe you have great articles that rank on certain keywords on Google. Make videos based on them because you know it's already working.
Yeah.
And that's when people talk about cross-channel and omni-channel and recycling and remarketing, that's really what they're saying.
Yeah. We're huge in repurposing content. So it's, taking the blog articles and turning them into video, doing everything you basically just said. There's the general idea of taking something and then, making it work cross channels, cross platforms. Mm-hmm. In Facebook specifically, what is like your number one way people should be repurposing a piece of content? Pick any kind of content you can think of.
My favorite thing is what we call the greatest hits. So imagine all the stages that you've spoken on. Imagine all the podcasts that you have been on. That's stuff that you've already made. Look, I'm lazy. I don't want to keep creating new content. I want to be on her show so I can add that to like number 753 now, right? But I'm lazy and I want to take things, if I've already said something really well and it's evergreen, meaning it's reusable, I want to take that 1 hour podcast, for example, and I want to cut out those 1 minute snippets, square them out, put them into that meme format where you have the headline, right? And then distribute them on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Right? Yeah, if you've already, the beauty of software, I'm a software engineer, the beauty of software is that if you build it once, you don't have to keep saying the same thing. I challenge you, if you're listening, are there things that you say over and over every day? Let's be real.
Oh my gosh.
Are there things that are repetitive in what you do or say?
Right.
So if you've said something already, package it up and then reuse it. If you've taught a client how to do something. One of my favorite techniques too, so number 2. So first one is reuse the things you already have, chop them up, because the odds of anyone listening through that entire 1 hour webinar and getting to that particular point in the middle, chop it out so that way they can go straight to the thing and you can remarket and target and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But the other thing is that if you're making amazing content, how do you sequence it together?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So it's one thing to be able to reuse content, but now I want to be able to remarket. And let's say, for example, you live in Scottsdale,
yes,
which is an amazing town. We're here in Gilbert, and there are, let's see, what's the best way to say this? I consider that like relationship central.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where all the cool people hang out.
What, Scottsdale?
And, yes.
I don't know about that, but okay.
And if you want to go if you want to go to the bars and the best restaurants, if you want to go dating, if you want to, you're going to go to Scottsdale, downtown, all that old town.
Yeah.
But let's say that I'm in the process of dating and I want to get a girlfriend, I want to get married, all this kind of stuff. That's going to take a sequence. That's going to take a relationship, right? And the same is true when you have clients, right? We understand that there's a relationship. It's not technology. It's about really the fundamentals of a relationship. Now, if we were to film what we're doing with the clients, like we record our calls in GoToMeeting, we film interactions. When we had a client here just yesterday, $20,000 for 3 days for a mastermind. And we filmed all of it on the board over here, sitting here in these chairs. Don't you think that a lot of that is completely reusable? For sure. A lot of it. Think about the stuff that you say all the time. Think about the processes that you have. We record it, and then we can reuse it. So I don't have to create a separate track on creating content. You and I are already so busy, we don't really have time to sit down and recreate content. So that's why Gary Vee has D-Rock all the time, following him around everywhere.
Right.
Because if he's coaching someone and that person's paying a ton of money, that person's going to agree to want to be filmed because it actually makes them better, because it gets them more reach. So Gary's getting more content creation. At the same time, the client's also getting benefit.
Yeah. Absolutely. So in those situations, how would you repurpose that type of content? Is that stuff that you want to just throw out on the web and say, here, I just did this $20,000 coaching deal, or where would you place something like that?
So you have to make value for the audience.
Right.
Because if you're just boasting about, oh, hey, I'm with this client and they're paying me a lot of money, then that's pompous. It doesn't add value. You might as well take pictures of your food at every meal. That's very much like, look at me.
Right.
If in the process of taking care of a client, you're doing it as part of a checklist, a recipe, a series of steps that you're following, then other people could follow those steps. So we call these particular kinds of clients a lighthouse. A lighthouse is one that everyone else can follow. Let's say that you and I were working together on personal branding. Your personal brand's already amazing, but let's just say that we were working together through this checklist and we were filming how to do it. If we did this in a structured sort of way, other people could watch and they could follow along. Do you like Rachel Ray or Bobby Flay, like any of these cooking shows?
Yeah, right.
So if you see that she's following a particular recipe, then you might follow along later. You might go to Whole Foods, buy all the ingredients, and see if you can make the whatever it is that she's making, right?
Yeah, right.
And the same is true here. Great content marketing, I believe, is actually education.
Yeah.
And education means following, you know, it was 20 years ago since I was in school, but it means following these lessons and chapters, these checklists and recipes, in being able to execute against a particular goal. You have a video production process that I saw just before you turned the camera on, that, you know, how you want to set everything up. And I knew that 24 frames per second versus 30 frames per second, you've got a process on that, right?
Right.
So when you have expertise like you do, other people can follow along. But just because you turn the camera on doesn't guarantee anything, right?
Right. Awesome. So you touched on something earlier. You said make your content square for Facebook. And I'm sure it's other platforms too.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't have my phone on me, but most people, when you have your phone, you're holding that phone vertically, right?
Right.
If you scroll through the news feed, so you could press pause on this video right now. If you scroll through the news feed on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and you see something in landscape format, you'll see it takes about a quarter of the screen, maybe a third of the screen. Square takes up half the screen. Vertical, portrait mode, takes up the entire screen. So if you're a marketer, advertiser, or entrepreneur, and you want people to, would you like to have the entire screen or like a little piece of the screen? And this is something that I was resistant to, because I thought if you're in professional video, if you've done ads for a long time, you understand that you put it in landscape format, right?
That was hard for me too.
Yeah. And then when Snapchat a couple years ago said, oh yeah, vertical videos, I'm like, nah, that's just like teenagers doing silly things. And then we started to test. And we took some big brand clients who had spent $50,000 on a professional video shoot for a commercial, right? Something that, you know, the typical like commercial TV production, people that are cinematographers. And then I would come in with my iPhone. Now the iPhones now are really nice. I have the new XS Max, which is fantastic, right? But just a regular iPhone, no equipment, me with no knowledge of any kind of video, but shooting vertical and square, and it was driving a better cost per conversion, a better ROAS, a better cost per lead. Me knowing nothing about video, pissing off all these professional video production companies. And you know why? It's not because I'm good at video. It's because I'm making things that don't look like advertisements.
Right.
So these companies, I hear this all the time. I've had $1 every time this happened. They take their TV commercials. How many times have you seen they take their TV commercial and then they try to run that on Facebook? And it doesn't work, and they say, oh, well, it's because Facebook doesn't work.
That's interesting that, well, so you think it was, well, you obviously know, it was more about it not looking like polished content. And that's something that people get really weird about is I have clients who will be like, okay, we want to be on Facebook, but we
fear that it's going to look too polished if we do, you know, professional video or whatever. And there's obviously huge need to do like organic feeling, personal type videos as well. Is there like a happy medium between what types of content should be produced professionally and what types should be like organic feeling?
So think about this. Have you seen some of the latest Nike ads? And they're like could be like Kaepernick.
Yes, yeah.
Or for the Olympics last time, they had a single shot of a boy, like a fat boy that was running.
Yeah.
So when you have something like Nike, you're expecting to see cinematographic, like movie quality kind of stuff because it's a huge brand like Nike. But at the same time, if it's a small business, if they're selling furniture, if it's the local real estate agent, you just want to see, hey, I'm giving an open house. This is the house, and let me tell you, it's been built in 1983. It's 4,300 square feet. Oh, there's a school back here, and she's kind of like walking around selfie style, like you would expect that. So the worst thing is a small business that's trying to make a fancy TV commercial, and it just doesn't come off as legit. So there are some situations where maybe I'm at the mall and I just have an idea, and I'm in the food court and I just say, hey everybody, I just got this idea, I want to tell you about it, right? And so people don't expect the professional. And there's other times where they're paying $497 for a course. They're going to expect professionally filmed. It goes back to the expectation, right?
Right.
It's not to say it's one or the other or try to do both. It's the expectation of when you're interviewing a customer, right? Or when you have a course or when you're speaking on stage. Can you imagine if, like at Traffic and Conversion Summit, they didn't have professional video? Like that wouldn't really make sense, right?
Right.
So I think the main thing on Facebook is that 70 to 80% of the time, you're just being who you are. You don't have makeup on, you're not in this, conference room kind of professional environment, but sometimes you are. Sometimes when you go to a wedding or funeral, when you go to a wedding or funeral, you're going to dress up.
Right.
But when you're at the beach, you're going to dress differently. And I think people understand that context.
Great. So that makes people feel more relaxed to just shoot the content. Good content is going to translate really regardless of whether it's professionally shot or done with the selfie style.
Let me give you one example. So one of our clients, Ashley Home Store, they're the largest furniture retailer on the planet, 700 plus stores, and they've produced all kinds. You've seen their TV ads, I'm sure. 4th of July blowout. All the couches are 50% off, and you can see it's a commercial. It's got the red letters with the % discount. One day only. People are too smart for stuff like that. So they've been spending millions of dollars pushing out commercials like that on Facebook and YouTube, and it doesn't drive any sales, right? Because people know about that. Then we took people that were salespeople in each of the stores, working with Michael Malaro, who runs their digital, and some of the other people that are really smart on their team. And we found that the ordinary people, there was one guy in Arkansas, I forgot what his name was, but he wasn't well-spoken, he wasn't like a professional video person, he wasn't like you where you're shiny and you know exactly what to do. And that actually was driving the most sales, because people saw that here's some regular guy and he's talking about a living room sectional, but he said, oh, we call this a go round. Here in the South, we're going to Walmart, going to Yongtu. And so these things are kind of fun, right?
It makes them real.
Yeah.
And people want to do business with real live people.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
And when they make mistakes and you can tell they're not professional, people actually like that. And we found that when we put our outtakes, so all of you guys listening, you're probably trying to be perfect and you keep reshooting these videos, removing ums and ahs. I bet if you included your mistakes, I bet if you gathered all of those up into a blooper, that actually would drive sales for you, if you're willing to swallow your pride.
For sure. I trip a lot, first of all. And the more of it we get on tape, I mean, they're in the intro. You see it on the intro to the show. So I'm just like, embrace it. You are who you are. And people like that you're human, because it makes them feel like, okay, I can do business with this person, even if you're a big brand like Ashley.
Yeah, especially if you go live and people know it's live. I was live on CNN 5 times last year talking about the whole Mark Zuckerberg senator. We run ads, that kind of thing. Right. So I had 5 spots that were 4.5 minutes each. I had over 20 minutes in front of 3.5 million people live last year. And I botched some of the questions that they asked me because it's live and I can't say, oh, George, can we rewind that? Can you ask me that again? No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that I had people that were calling me up saying, hey, I was at the airport and I was about to board on the plane and I looked up the TV thing at CNN and I saw that you were on TV. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. right?
Yeah.
And because people have the expectation, they know it's live, they know that you're just out there sharing, they don't expect this super level of production. So if anything, you guys are judging yourself way, way more harsher than we would, right?
Amen.
Like literally just put it out there. My friend Isaac Irvine runs the personal brands at GoDaddy, a big internet company. And last year he put out a video of, he was in the shower with his son. He had his phone propped up on a bar of soap. He was all smelly and dirty because he just worked out the gym wearing a tank top. And it was a video about, he was asking his son how he got bullied at school, because he had long hair and he's growing it out for kids with cancer and that kind of thing. And the thing got 100 million views, that video.
Wow.
But he could have said, you know what? I don't want to do it right now because Bodhi is ready to talk. You know what? I'm going to, take a shower.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on nice clothes. I'm going to set up in the studio. And by then, it would have never happened.
Right.
It got quote. Ellen shared it. It was on BuzzFeed. He was on CBS. George Takei shared it. Lad Bible. 100 million views across all those different channels. But he was like, the shower curtains were dirty. The furniture didn't match. The phone was shaky. They didn't have a professional mic. You can see like we're laved up.
Yeah.
But I bet you those ones that look, I'm not saying intentionally Blair Witch it, where it's all shaky.
Right.
But the ones that are real, people crave authenticity. And you hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, be authentic. Yeah, I guess that's true, but what does that actually mean?
Right.
It means just share what's going on. Share your failures. Share the kinds of things that you're thinking about. And people will resonate with you.
Yeah.
That's all these internet marketing experts and branding people. The reason they're saying that is because that's what's working. Because we don't believe in it. We don't believe in commercials. So people come to me and they say, "Oh, what are the latest techniques with Facebook ads and the latest things that?" And I can tell you, well, some things are under NDA, so we can't tell you like whatever that they're doing. But
Right.
it's always the reason people fail on Facebook with their ads and analytics is always back to these basics. It's that their content sucks. I need someone like Shayna to help them actually structure something that, like if you take away the camera, you take away the internet, and we're just hanging out in Old Town Scottsdale, how would you treat somebody?
Right.
And that's going to be pretty close to what you need.
Yeah, I love that. I say a lot about how trying to sell somebody something without having any kind of communication with them that is like a conversation or just how are you? What are you, like offering some sort of value, comfort, advice, anything like that. Just being like, hey, fund my Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Why?
it's the same as in business. You wouldn't do that in real life. So why would you do it as a business and asking for money in addition to just a relationship?
Yeah.
I just never understood that. But I'm glad we're in a place now with things like social media can be scary, first of all. The fact that we're as like connected as we are is incredible and also terrifying to me at the same time. But the fact that we're in a place where now you have to be honest in order to be effective is pretty incredible.
Let me tell you one thing. I had dinner with my friend Alex Schultz, who runs growth at Facebook. He's one of Mark Zuckerberg's right-hand men. And he used to be a big wig at eBay, and we go way back, like 10, 12 years, back when Facebook was just getting started. And we were talking about fake news and spam and all these things that you guys have seen people get mad about.
Yeah.
And we came to the conclusion that people's closets are getting smaller. So what that means is 10 years ago, when a politician would get found out about, some kind of scandal, it'd be a really, really big deal, right? But now, and I'm not political at all, now like Donald Trump gets in trouble for like lying about something and it's just fine. People, their expectations, like when someone does something wrong nowadays, people don't care as much because the camera is everywhere, right? Before, even the smallest thing, people would just erupt over. And now there's kind of like, okay, well, if everyone's closets are smaller, meaning everyone can kind of see what everyone else is doing,
right,
then there's the expectation that I'm not saying it's okay to commit crime, but it's not as bad as it would have been the further back you go in time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's more exposed in general. So it's almost like we're kind of numb to it a little bit.
People expect the worst.
Right.
You all should know at this point that you have to be repurposing your content. You need to be taking your audio, your blogs, your podcasts, your videos, and turning them into smaller, bite-sized snippets for social media that are video, that have optimized thumbnails, that are images, that say really amazing stats and things that your guests have said. If you're not repurposing your content yet, then you are behind the game. So that is why I created Repurpose House, to literally take this piece of your content game off of your hands and to do it for you. So if you know, which you should know, that you need to be taking all of your existing content that you worked so hard on and probably spent a lot of time and money on, if you know you need to put that out into the world so that it's able to be engaged with in the right way for the right platforms, then you need to sign up for repurposehouse.com. One low monthly fee gets you as many assets as you can handle to put onto your social media calendar and start driving traffic to all of your lead gen landing pages, websites, blogs, wherever it is that you're taking traffic that actually gets them to convert. So check out the link in the description. We've got a really cool deal for you right there. It's repurposehouse.com, but make sure you go through the link because you'll get a really cool promo code.
So one thing that I promise viewers and listeners is that they will have some sort of actionable thing that they can do in the next 24 to 48 hours. That's not like hire a team of 15 and go nuts. What is the one thing that they can do after they listen that will help their content marketing strategy?
One thing you can do right now, and it takes balls to do this, but it's not hard. I challenge people at conferences all the time. Just try it, it'll work. Pull out your phone and do a selfie thing, or have someone like Sarah hold the phone if you're whatever it is, and speak to the camera and do one 1-minute gratitude video. Say, I'm so grateful for Sarah because of this, this, and this, right? Or I'm grateful for my children because, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm grateful that it's really nice outside today in Gilbert, right? And we're gonna go play some golf or play some basketball or something a little bit later after this. Get into the practice. Maybe you have like a morning routine, right? Some people, they like to meditate in the morning, they like to read, they like to pray, whatever it is. Like whatever's part of your routine, build in a 1-minute gratitude video. And there's no excuse for 1 minute. You can't say you're too busy.
Right.
You can't say, oh, I need a professional videographer. You literally can go like this and say, I'm so grateful that Shayna drove 30 minutes all the way down here to hang out with us here in Gilbert. Right? And for us to be able to share content together. Like it could be the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be some like life-changing thing. It can be, I was at Panda Express and I had a double orange chicken when I was in the airport, and I just really like orange chicken. It was awesome. Or just, It doesn't like anything. And when you get into that habit of gratitude, you start to get better on camera. And here's the thing that won't make any sense until you try, but it's true. Listen to this. When you make silly little videos like that about how I love going to Costco because these women have these samples on toothpicks, and I like to go around and I can have a whole meal doing that, and I'll do the sample and I'll walk away, but I feel guilty because I feel like I have to buy a bag of meatballs. It's like one of my favorite things to do, right? That has nothing to do with digital marketing, with optimizing someone's pixels or Google Analytics, right. with whatever it is that you sell, right? Those sorts of moments have nothing to do with demonstrating competency about why people should buy from you. But those videos humanize you and actually create conversion. That's what people don't get. When you humanize and you help people understand your hopes, dreams, and fears and what you like and what you're grateful for, they're way more likely to buy. Even though just because I've seen, X number of your videos doesn't mean necessarily that she's any more competent. But people buy from other people they know. And thus, literally making 1-minute videos, putting them on your public figure page, boosting them out there is how people get to know you, like you, and trust you. And if they just see 4 or 5 of these things about kind of what you're doing, it's almost like they're your neighbor and you trust them, right? Do you know who your neighbors are in your community?
Kind of, a couple.
But the ones that you know better, you just sort of trust them.
Oh, for sure.
Or when you're in school or your coworkers, there are a lot of people you think you know just because you've seen them.
Right.
But because you know them, you've seen them, you think you can trust them. And so that's really where the social piece comes in.
That's awesome. That's a great action item. And there's no excuse. Like you said, you have 1 minute and you're grateful for something.
What are you grateful for today? Like right now, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for sitting here and learning all of this awesome knowledge from you. This has been awesome. And I'm grateful I took that 30-minute drive. I was also very grateful that there was already lights and cameras in here. So that was one other thing to be awesome about. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. This has been incredible. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience at the moment? I think that I've learned so much, so I can't even imagine what more value you can give us today.
I'm going to see you guys take action. You guys have seen a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that we're talking about here, and it's so easy to go off to the next thing because you're so busy. I want to see your 1-minute video, post it, tag me on either LinkedIn or Facebook. Oh, by the way, if you take that 1-minute video, post it on Facebook and on LinkedIn, tell me which one gets more views. I bet you your one on LinkedIn, depending on how big your network is, I bet you the one on LinkedIn gets 5 times as much traffic. In 2019, you're going to get way more power on LinkedIn. Even if you're not B2B, anything. LinkedIn's becoming another major social network. It's not only for jobs, it's not only for resumes and things like that.
Awesome, good. We'll be on the lookout for that too. Can't wait to see what you guys post. I'm excited to see the gratitude videos. Well, thank you, Dennis. This has been amazing. Have an awesome rest of your day. And you guys, go get those cameras out, get those phones out, and film some video. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Content Coalition. Now, whether you're listening or watching, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to whatever platform you're listening to it on, because you're not going to want to miss out on the incredible things that I'm learning with these amazing content marketing pros. So make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you next week.